Touch with 06.1 FM, your 12 o'clock lunch mix. Coming to a close on your hump day, Wednesday. Court B rocking out with ya. She's a brick house. That's right, y'all. Courtney B. They done woke up a monster, y'all. LC on the ones and twos, baby. Providing the soundtrack to this thing here we call your Feeding Your Mind, Body, and Soul session. Inside orders information to build a nation. 617-445-1061 is your direct connect inside to us on this Wednesday. And the topic of the day, it seemed to be that forum for us, by us, in the forum for the mayoral candidates of color, September 10th. Now that is pending because some folks have had some things to say about this coming together in racially separating the mayoral race in X, Y, and Z. And these sisters, Miss Maggie Brown and Jocelyn Choate, are just trying to bring some information and make some connections to the people of our communities from the candidates that are running from our communities. But hey, we're in a post-racial world, right? There's no lynchings going on and people ain't burning crosses in our yards up here in Boston and all that. So we should be happy. Everything's cool. Now let's work towards a multicultural approach to, to life. And that's all well and good. And I don't think anybody here or that is fighting for certain stuff doesn't want that. But we can't deny or turn the blind eye to the fact that there are those in greater positions of power than myself or Maggie Brown or Jocelyn Choate that are making decisions that make it hard for this utopia of a USA to happen. And if we don't address the power structure and make changes in the power structure, then we will continue to spin our wheels. Our kids will keep dying in the streets. Our education systems will keep being piss poor compared to those that have more wealth, more money in their communities, and more people that are making more noise and allowing their voices to be heard, and their folks are being educated on the issues and what's going on in their own city. So my 2 cents is let the For the Community by the Community forum go down. Freedom House should still open their doors to Maggie Brown, Jocelyn Choate, and the committee that put this together. And John Barrows, Charlotte Golar-Ritchie, Felix Arroyo, Charles C. Yancey, Charles Clemens Jr., David J. Wyatt, and then some should all still make sure that they come out on September 10th and speak to Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, Hyde Park, whoever they're speaking to, and the rest of the candidates that are also running for mayor, they should come out as well. Nobody's closing their doors and not inviting them like some of these other forums have done and left people out blatantly and purposely. This is an open forum, but they're letting you know that the issues that were being discussed, the things that are being talked about, will be directly things that impact our communities. And it's funny to me, and this will be the last point before I go to this break, that we have all these nonprofits and other entities and organizations of folks that will come into the hood, so to speak, and make direct initiatives and saying, I'm only spending my money, or I want to help the young people or the black and brown boys or all the, the little black and brown girls that need mentors or the black and brown boys that need this. And I want to put 10 million, 5 million into only these neighborhoods because that's where I want to do my give back to. That's where I want to change. But they don't have black faces or brown faces, and it's celebrated, and they're pushed up and saying, hey, look what these great philanthropists are doing for black and brown people. But nobody says, oh, that's racial, that they're not going to spend their money in Quincy, or they don't want to put their millions in Newton. You know why? Because they know those are communities that already have it. So it's okay for non-people of color to big up and put money and try to galvanize people of color, but it's not okay for people of color to try to galvanize people of color. I don't understand that. And whenever some folks of color try to do that, then it becomes an issue. And that's what this is to me. Another example of how when people of color try to organize themselves, there's somebody standing over us and saying, nope, 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 tis, tis, tis. We got to break that up. We don't want y'all to think by yourselves. We don't want you to realize and let all the people in your community know that stuff isn't right and something smells funky around here. Don't you dare do that. and they come and try to find some reason to have our own people have commentary about why this is a bad idea. I thought there was no such thing as a bad idea. We learn, we live, and we learn, and we have to do things and try things out, and especially when it comes to giving people information. It's another forum for folks to come out to learn. And this isn't the 60s when we're being the ones saying this is a whites-only section and a black-only section and coloreds and all that. Everyone is invited out to this forum to come get the information. And for it to be said that if black and brown candidates come out to this specific forum, that it's going to be detrimental to their campaign because white people will say, oh, you're only going to worry about black issues, and black people, if they don't come, it's going to make black revolutionary or what did you call them, extremists, not respect who you are as a black candidate or a brown candidate. Like, we don't make things polar, you know. Other folks make things polar when they're scared of what it's going to represent. I should be able to be black and be a woman and want to speak to my black people, my women, my black and brown folks, or anybody that is coming from the same type of social situation I am, or that understands my struggle, or that needs and can understand my issues. And these candidates, politicians, are supposed to be our connection to the bigger political structure. So I need to know that the person that I'm going to vote for, that I have faith is going to go before Congress or go before whoever and articulate the needs of my community. And since our communities are in such dire needs of so many things, then obviously the picking and the politicking and the voting that we've been doing isn't been effective. We haven't been voting for the type of leaders that can make effective change. And race and economics and class and all this stuff would stop being factors if the same folks that are representing us weren't using it to put themselves in power as well. But it's the nature of the beast, and it's the nature of how the USA is, or this country is formatted. Like, we could go on a whole social, economic, racial conversation here, but you know, I want to make you feel good, real good as well too. But we have to educate you at the same time. So this is my 2 cents on this For the Community by the Community forum, and it's the same argument, the same things that are keeping this from happening is the same issues that we're dealing with breaking up the schools, home base A, home base B, building schools in certain communities, and we can talk about re-gentrification and, oh, you know, we can paint this picture that everything's pearly and beautiful and that Boston's such a great American city, but there's too many of its residents, many of whom are in the majority, that are suffering, and everyone's closing their eyes and turning a deaf ear to the issues. So if we have folks that may be a possibility now to speak our issues to, then why not have the first mayoral forum for candidates of color? And President Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and any president that's been there, let's say Democratic, on the Democratic side, or whoever that people have voted for, everybody says how important the black vote is, or the Hispanic vote is, or the vote of color is. And then when it counts for us as well, then we're playing a race card. But people can talk about that are in power how important having certain groups behind them is. That's why candidates go in campaign in certain areas, whether it's labor unions or whether it's to the teachers or to the elderly or to whoever. People need certain groups behind them to push them over or put them in first place. So to whoever comes out to this forum, I would think that it would be beneficial to them, because there might be people in the audience that Maggie, Brown, and Jocelyn Choate know or have connections to that may have not been at any other forum that has gone on in this city because of where the forum has been, or because of the way it was publicized or not publicized in our communities, since we don't have media that talks about things that happen all over the city. So this might be the only forum that those candidates get to reach a voter that may be no other candidate has inspired them to go out to vote for. And maybe this person that might come to the Freedom House on September 10th may have not come before, and granted, maybe because they like Felix, or their family is family with John Barrows, or Charles Yancey lives next door to them, or Charles might have given a book to them at his book fair that he does every year. They might come out to it and learn about these other candidates that are there and be inspired to say, hey, I'm going to go vote this year. So how can we call something a bad idea and one of the worst imaginable ideas that might help people or encourage people to get out to exercise those amendment rights that everybody talks about are so important? Just like you can't educate a child, all children, the same way. You have to try different things to get results or to educate folks. So shouts out to Maggie Brown and Jocelyn Choate for coming up with this. They're not people that have money. They're not from any certain organization. They're not representing some folks that have paid one of these people $500,000 or $1 million to make sure that they take care of their special interests once they get in office. They're saying, no, I want my community to be educated about who's out there and the folks that are running that are from our community that might be actually to speak to really create some change for our community. And I'm sorry. I think Felix, Charles, Clemens, Wyatt, John Barrows, they'd probably be able to educate the governor or other people on what's going on in Roxbury, Dorchester, and Mattapan more than a Walsh or Connolly or a Ross, just because they're not necessarily from where I'm from. So how will they know my issues are that? So yeah, I want to come hear what these folks have to say. Or I could be proven wrong and saying, oh, I thought this one knew or was on my same page, but they're not. I think everybody has the right to be able to hear everyone so they can make an educated decision on who they decide to vote for come the end of the month. And so how dare the Bay State Banner and Mel Miller call any idea for anybody trying to galvanize and organize people to exercise a right that so many fought to have, and call it bad and try to put negativity out there and to the constituents and the potential candidates to not support. You wouldn't tell people not to go on WBZ. You wouldn't tell people not to speak or go to something the Globe or the Herald was having. So how dare you try to stifle the voice of our young community leaders, but they're trying to do something that they think is going to benefit their community. That's what this is about. But anywho, we'll be back in a flash. Y'all keep it connected right here on your number one station. For us, by us. So is Touch. So is Big City. So is El Planeta. Are you going to tell us don't have those media entities that service a certain demographic? I don't think so. So don't knock these two young ladies for trying to do the same thing, please. We'll be back. Lock it in.